On the news, TUC pulls out of NLC protest, calls for new minimum wage and importation of essential food items. House Committee inaugurated to review 1999 Constitution. And court fixes March 19 to decide Nnamdi Kanu's fresh application. Glad to have you join us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkolye. The Trade Union Congress TUC has announced that it will not participate in the planned protest organized by the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC to put pressure on the government to end economic hardship and insecurity in the country. TUC President Festus Osifo made the announcement at a press conference in Abuja. Now, despite calls from the Department of State Services and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice for the cancellation of the protests, the NLC has insisted on proceeding with the planned protest. Osifo says the TUC will continue its engagement with the federal government to address the country's challenges. He also outlined a 15-point agenda aimed at improving the economic situation, asking the government to immediately review the current minimum wage and allow for importation of food. Now, the TUC had always joined the NLC in major strikes or protests, but has chosen to stay off this one over allegations that the NLC did not consult it before going ahead to announce the protest rally. Now, ahead of the two-day nationwide protest by the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, scheduled for February 27 and 28, 2024, the Joint Action Front JAF and the Coalition for Revolution Corps have staged a nationwide rally over the rising cost of living in the country. The civil society organizations described the event as protest rallies against the hardship and hunger caused by the economic policies of Bola Tinubu-led government. Our correspondent Chidi Igwe has more on the story.
With placards and solidarity songs, members of the Joint Action Front and the Coalition for Revolution marched from the office of the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC at Yaba to Maryland in Lagos. Leading the protesters, Secretary of the JAF, Abiodun Aremu, lamented the declining state of the economy and the cost of living crisis in the country. They also vowed to revolt if the NLC backs out of its planned strike actions slated for February 27th and 28th.
Today, our statement is simple, that our country can no longer go on with this band of fraudsters as rulers in our country, under the guise of the IMF policies of privatizations, of deregulation, of monetizations, of devaluations of our currency. We are today in a position to demand the restoration of our dignity.
Today's protest is to begin the national mass resistance against this government, but also to send a message to the leadership of the NLC and the TUC that we need them to provide leadership for the mass resistance and struggle of Nigerian people.
Other protesters lamented the inability of the Tinubu-led administration to run the economy and save an already bad situation.
We have seen the government tell us that they can no longer fund education, and with that we've seen an increase across public universities, across learning centers, increase in fees. Students can no longer go to school, parents can no longer fend for their children. We are here to reject every neoliberal policy that the government of the day is buying, that has continued to put Nigerians under bondage. We can no longer continue like this.
Meanwhile, officers of the Nigerian police force commended the peaceful conduct of the rally.
The position of the police is very simple. They protested. In law, have the right to protest. But our own concern that is that the protest must be peaceful. And that is why we are here, to make sure that it is not hijacked by troublemakers.
Meanwhile, the presidency and other stakeholders have warned the NLC against embarking on its two-day nationwide protest over the alleged government failure to implement agreements reached between both parties on October 2nd, 2023, following the removal of fuel subsidy. The NLC, however, says it remains resolute to hold peaceful protests come Tuesday and Wednesday. Chidi Igwe, TV360 News, Lagos.
Still on the protest in Abuja, concerns linger over the possibility of the protest scheduled for tomorrow and the following day being hijacked by certain elements, while others doubt its efficacy in effecting tangible change, pointing to past protests that failed to yield substantive results. While some residents express solidarity with the protest objectives, others have reservations about its ability to prompt meaningful actions from policymakers. Amidst the uncertainty, some residents say the government needs to be given more time to implement its policies before subjecting them to public scrutiny.
There is nothing is too sudden to do this kind of thing. Look, a lot of people are facing. If you go to their various places, go to their houses, see what people are going through. People are going through a lot of. So it's better. That's what they promise us now. If they don't do it, we should find them and talk to them that they are not doing what the average Nigerian want them to do, and they are beginning to do otherwise. And that is why we are sitting down to do today, telling them that yes, it's not sudden, so let them sit up and do the right thing.
The only problem is that things in Nigeria is not 100% done. And if it is 95, then who want to? At the end of the day, close down meeting, they will hear maybe before an hour now or whatever, I hear that the protest or whatever is suspended.
You see, the NLC had always been the major organ that speaks for the masses in this country, because they themselves, they feel they are part of the system. So, if they fail Nigerians, if they fail to come out tomorrow as they promised, they have failed the whole Nigerians.
I don't believe them. I don't believe them because they are contributing to our problem in this country. If they are fighting for this, if they are fighting for the civil servant, what of those people that are not civil servant? How can they fight for them? How can they work? So the only thing is just let us leave the president in May or June. Let him do whatever he wants to do.
Joining me to discuss the upcoming protests is Achike Chude, public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining me. Now, can you tell me your take on the timing of the NLC protest amidst calls from political leaders to be patient with President Tinubu's reform agenda?
I don't know about timing. I don't know, because you see, this is what the ruling class has been using. The timing just to blackmail workers and to blackmail Nigerians to prevent them from doing what is their constitutional duty, and that is to protest bad governance and to protest their living conditions in the country. You know, so I mean, if we say let them do this protest at the right time, then what is the right time? We should also tell our stomachs to cause us to be hungry at the right time, that this is not the time for us to be hungry. The reality is that you respond to stimuli, and what we are experiencing in this country now is exceedingly very terrible. And so there is no, we have given the political class about 60 years, over 60 years, to try to get things right in this country. So Nigerians have not made too many demands or too much demands on their political leadership. And so all this talk about the right time and so on is just excuses to buy time, and even after giving them enough time, they're not going to do anything with it. And so perhaps if Nigerians had been very hard on their political leadership, we would not be where we are today. So there's nothing like buying time. I do not believe in buying time. This is the right time. And whenever you're hungry, whenever things are difficult, whenever you're facing very serious failure of governance, then that is the time to protest. You don't wait for any other time for you to be able to do what you need to do at any particular point in time.
All right. Now, considering the call for patience with President Tinubu's reforms, are there alternative avenues for addressing grievances and influencing policy changes beyond protests? So some other people say that the protests have not yielded any impact.
Don't forget that President Bola Tinubu, when people talk about giving him time, I don't understand what it means. Is it that he didn't know that these things were on ground? So he has known for the past 8 years, because he was in the APC. And not just that he was a member of the APC, he was a very high-ranking member of the APC, and he was called the national leader of the APC. After President Muhammad Buhari, he was supposed to be one of the most important members of the APC. APC is his government. APC is the government that imposed hardship on Nigerians, unmitigated hardship for 8 years under Muhammad Buhari. And he took over from Muhammad Buhari, knew what the problem was, told us what the problem was during the election campaign, and now he comes and people say he needs time. Time to do what? When he already knew what the problem was. So these are the issues that are confronting us really in the face. Like I said, we need to be able to respond to these issues as they emerge. Any other issue of giving regards to the NLC and the idea. Look, the issue is that government blocks every alternative for dialogue. Government blocks every alternative that is given to them with regards to suggestions about what the government needs to do. So government allows the crisis to draw out till it gets to a point where the NSC has no choice than to respond to what is going on in the country. And then the government now tries to blackmail them. This blackmail is absolutely not going to work because people are wiser for it. And I hope that the NSC leadership is working. They had an agreement, don't forget, a 15-point agenda, and they have not been able to do anything about that 15-point agenda. That tells you the government is not sincere, and it is the government that is bringing this thing about, and not the labor.
All right, Public Affairs Analyst Achike Chude, thank you for speaking with us, and we hope for a better Nigeria. Moving on, a network of civil society groups, the Lagos People Assembly LPA, representing a diverse cross-section of Nigerians from various backgrounds, have asked the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC to reconsider its planned two-day protest rally in the interest of national peace and security. A statement issued by the group acknowledged the economic challenges facing Nigerians, adding that these difficulties are not unique to the nation, but are part of a global economic phenomenon affecting citizens worldwide. Two members of the group, Nelson Ekojomi and Benga Sholeki, said there need to be a constructive engagement to find a solution to the economic challenges rather than resorting to protest marches or strikes.
We are people who believe that anybody or institution's word should be so bond. So if government has said we are going to do 10 things, and maybe they were able to fulfill, even if it is just one, it behoves on a party to a contract to call for a meeting with the other party to explain why he or she is unable to. Because we don't expect, it's only God that will say A and it will be A. Man can say A and it becomes B. So we'll call on government, if they have any outstanding issues with the Labour Congress, to engage them, to make them, the Labour Union is people by, patriotic Nigerians who also want the best for this country. So we don't believe they are enemies of the Nigerian people. And that is why we are calling on them as our brothers and sisters that, look, these times calls for patience and constructive engagement.
If at the end of the day, government fails to implement whatever they agree on, yes, we always join. We are products of the streets. All of us that are seeing here, we are products of the streets. We are ready to hit the street anybody. We are ready to hit the streets to demand for the rights of anybody whose rights are being infringed upon. But on this note, we must ensure that we exhaust all other options before we go on strike. That's what we're saying. Thank you.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, has officially inaugurated the House Committee tasked with the crucial responsibility of reviewing the 1999 Constitution. Abbas said there is importance of devolving powers, particularly highlighting the inclusion of state policing and the enhancement of fiscal federalism through local government autonomy. He also harped on the necessity of revisiting key issues such as providing additional seats for women in government and granting citizenship to foreigners married to Nigerian women.
This gradual process will allow us to pilot innovative solutions, engage in meaningful experimentation, and gather concrete data and facts to inform our decisions. Also, this approach ensures that reforms are not only reflective, but also adapted to the unique needs and challenges of our great nation. Through this careful and considered process, we can achieve sustainable and impactful changes for the good of our country and all Nigerians.
We are reminded of the profound responsibility that rests upon our shoulders as legislators of the people. This committee's task is not just a matter of legal review, but is a duty to enhance the framework that governs our collective aspirations, rights, and duties as citizens of this great country.
I call upon every one of you to actively participate in the constitutional reform process, to lend your voices, ideas, and expertise to craft a constitution that reflects the values and aspirations of all Nigerians.
The trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, at the Federal High Court in Abuja has been adjourned until the 19th of March. Kanu, who is facing charges of terrorism brought against him by the Nigerian government, appeared before the court for the adjournment. The prosecuting lawyer Adigboyega Awomalo assured the court that at least 2 witnesses would be called on the adjourned date. Awomalo's appearance marks a significant shift in the federal government's prosecution team, as it is the first time an external prosecutor will lead a team since the case began in 2015. We'll take a break here, but still to come on the news, CBN plans $100,000 per year limit on foreign school fees from Bureau de Change operators. Details of the story right after this break.
Hello, Alahaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello, Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I will just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we are in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you are raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country. Corruption, not in my country.
Welcome back. Now a quick recap of our top stories. The Trade Union Congress TUC has announced its decision not to participate in the planned protest organized by the Nigeria's Labour's Congress NLC to highlight mounting hardship and insecurity faced in the country. TUC's President Festus Osifo said the union will continue its engagement with the federal government to address the country's challenges. He outlined a 15-point agenda aimed at improving the economic situation, including advocating for a new minimum wage to address the economic changes caused by the declining value of the naira against the dollar and the foreign exchange market. We also told you that the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, has officially inaugurated the House Committee tasked with the crucial responsibility of reviewing the 1999 Constitution. Abbas emphasized the paramount importance of devolving power, particularly highlighting the inclusion of state policing and the enhancement of fiscal federalism through local government autonomy. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limas World TV or AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. It's now time for business news. Let's join Ogbonna for the latest.
Thank you, Tamilore. Hello and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced its intention to implement stricter measures regarding the purchase of foreign currencies through bureau de change operators, particularly concerning transactions related to overseas education and medical expenses. Under the revised regulatory guidelines for BDCs in Nigeria, the CBN will impose a cap on foreign currency purchases for school fees, limiting it to $10,000 per customers annually. This measure aims to ensure more stringent control over foreign currency transactions and enhance transparency in the utilization of foreign exchange resources. The new regulation mandates that transactions for school fees must be conducted through the BDC's domiciliary account with a Nigerian bank, facilitating direct payment to the educational institution. Additionally, specific documentation requirements must be met for such transactions to be processed. Still on business, as Nigeria battles its worst foreign exchange crisis ever, top economist as SPM professionals Paul Alaje says the solution can be realized in a couple of weeks if the supply side can be worked on. Recall that the federal government announced that it is targeting to raise $10 billion to increase the foreign exchange liquidity to stabilize the naira. To solve the FX problem, Alaje says Nigeria needs about $20 million to clear the country's backlog, adding there will be a need to sell local bonds in FX as well as excess bonds in domiciliary accounts.
We might need to sell local bond in FX. Most of the money that are seated in DOM accounts need to be sold as form of bond. I could see T-bills going for over 16%, bond going for an amount higher than that. So if you bring lower interest rates and you go to the debt market and raise capital, nearly $30 billion are already in Nigerian market, Nigeria banking system in form of DOM accounts. We need to rebrand, we need to remarket, we need to re-advocate how dollars should come to our system. If you can do this, you will not need to borrow any money. You will not need to look for new foreign direct investment, even though those are important. But can we convert what we need by appealing to depositor, a rate that is important? The question will be, what is the assurance that if government rates a dollar-based, euro-based, or FX-based bond in Nigeria, when it's time to redeem these bonds, when they are due, what is the guarantee that the government of Nigeria will not give excuses? I will really look at revenue windows where government can rent some of this money from Oshun all the way to Zamfara. We have gold. We have heard that some of this gold will bring prosperity to Nigerians. When I checked the 2024 budget, it was a number that was completely missing as to what government will realize for mineral resources. The only resource that is stated is crude oil. What happened to gold? What happened to lithium? What happened to diamond? What happened to other raw materials that we have in abundance, just like crude, on the soil of Nigeria? We must understand that for us to bring Nigeria from the current economic quagmire to the place of prosperity, growth, and development, we must roll our sleeves and see where the monies are. And government must come with the support of subnational, I mean federal government and subnational, must become purposeful to end the crisis.
We'll go on a short break and be back with stock market reports. Nigeria equities market closed in the negative region on Monday, reducing by 0.09% and leaving the market capitalization at 55.82 trillion naira. The market breadth, however, ended on a positive note with 28 gainers against 25 losers. Now, Nestle Nigeria came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10%, leading the laggards with 990 naira 0 kobo, followed closely by Etana, which led with 15 naira 80 kobo. Now, at the end of the first weekday of trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange (NGX), a total of 294 million volume of shares were exchanged in 9,957 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 6 billion were traded. Now, let's take a look at our Select Global stock. Reverses the case for Select Global stock on the first weekday of trading, as the US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei ended in the bulls at 0.045% and 0.35%, which is a great news, leaving only the UK FTSE in the bears at 0.29%. Well, that is it on both business and stock market reports. Back to you, Tamilore, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Ogbonna. Now, on the global scene, Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh has announced his resignation from government. Shtayyeh submitted his resignation to Palestinian Authority PA President Mahmoud Abbas, saying that the decision was made in response to the unprecedented escalation in the West Bank and Jerusalem, as well as the ongoing conflict and humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. Shtayyeh's resignation comes amidst increasing pressures from the United States on Abbas to reform the Palestinian Authority and establish a political framework capable of governing a future Palestinian state in the aftermath of the recent conflict. And up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Popular Nigerian singer Adekunle Kosoko, professionally called Adekunle Gold, has finally opened up about his battle with sickle cell. The singer was diagnosed with sickle cell since birth, and during his latest stage performance in London, he paid a tribute to the sickle cell survivors. On stage, the singer expressed gratitude to God for a successful career and global recognition without significant health setback. He encouraged those with similar health challenges to remain resilient and determined in pursuing their life goals. During the show, he dedicated his performance of his song 5 Star to the sickle cell survivors.
And on sport, the prestigious 2024 Lyrius World Sport Awards has unveiled its list of nominees featuring renowned athletes from across the globe. Among the contenders are Erling Haaland, Katrina Johnson-Thompson, and Jude Bellingham, representing excellence in their respective fields. Manchester City stands as a formidable contender for the coveted Team of the Year title, while prolific striker Erling Haaland also nominated for the Distinguished Sportsman of the Year accolades. Argentine forward and Inter Miami player Lionel Messi, who clinched last year's Sportsman of the Year title, is once again in contention for the prestigious honor, demonstrating his enduring excellence and impact on the global sports stage. The anticipation of the award ceremony is tangible, with the event scheduled to take place in Madrid on April 22nd. And that wraps up our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching.